This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
A reimposition of U.S. sanctions on Venezuela's oil and gas sectors would hurt the OPEC country's ability to collect cash from its oil exports, crimp new energy investments, and raise the risks of domestic fuel scarcity, analysts and executives said. Washington this week ordered a wind down of all business transactions between U.S. entities and Venezuela's state miner Minervan, and said it would unwind in April its easing of energy sanctions if President Nicolas Maduro's administration does not stick to an agreement signed last year to accept conditions for a fair presidential election. The U.S. is increasing its pressure since the South American country's top court last week upheld a ban blocking the leading opposition hopeful, Maria Corina Machado, from the election.
The United States is seeking to buy about 3 million barrels of U.S.-produced sour crude for the Strategic Petroleum Reserve for delivery in June, Department of Energy documents showed on Tuesday. The administration of President Joe Biden is slowly replenishing the emergency stash after selling 180 million barrels in 2022 following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So far it has bought back more than 20 million barrels and stopped congressionally mandated sales of about 140 million barrels through 2027.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Oil prices edged off in early Asian trading on Wednesday on continued bearish fundamentals, following gains in the previous session amid an escalating conflict in the Middle East. The March Brent crude futures, which expires today, fell 37 cents to $82.50 a barrel by 0146 GMT. The more actively traded April contract fell 24 cents to $82.26 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude ticked down 18 cents to $77.64. The main issue with turning outright bullish on crude oil here is the technical picture remains bearish and is yet to catch up with recent events, including a deadly drone attack on U.S. troops near the Jordan-Syria border last week, said Tony Sycamore, a market analyst with IG.
Clean energy stocks might be in for a much-needed recharge this year as bets on interest rate cuts brighten their outlook following record outflows from this former ESG hotspot. Cost overruns, supply bottlenecks, and financing troubles have plagued debt-intensive wind and solar projects, but cheaper valuations are starting to lure investors looking to pick up bargains. The iShares Global Clean Energy ETF, one of the world's top renewables equity funds, has lost one-third of its value over the last year, whereas global stocks are up 16%. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. London copper prices were subdued on Wednesday ahead of the conclusion of the U.S. Federal Reserve's two-day meeting, heading for a slight monthly gain amid supply disruption. Three-month copper on the London Metal Exchange dipped 0.1% to $8,605 per metric ton by 0157 GMT. The contract has gained 0.5% so far this month. The most traded March copper contract on the Shanghai Futures Exchange added 0.5% to 69,340 yuan, $9,660.07 per ton, also up 0.6% so far this month.
The US and European Union failed on Tuesday to reach a trade deal for critical battery minerals but are vowing to press ahead with talks to create a transatlantic marketplace for minerals and other components, the EU's top trade official said on Tuesday. European Commission Executive Vice President Valdis Dombrovskis told reporters after bilateral talks in Washington that there remain some outstanding issues on the European side, including aspects of the US green energy subsidy law known as the Inflation Reduction Act that the EU sees as discriminatory. The Battery Minerals Trade Agreement, which would allow European companies to take advantage of generous U.S. tax credits for electric vehicles, was a key topic of discussion at the fifth ministerial meeting of the US-EU Trade and Technology Council.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
The Russian government published a decree on Thursday introducing quotas for the import of seeds from what it designates as unfriendly countries, to last until the end of the year. Russia considers countries including the United States, Britain and the European Union as officially unfriendly. That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to Trade Flow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.